Here we go now with a really good Friday edition of a story that we've been following for you as well. Artificial intelligence, AI as some people call it. It is becoming more and more common in everyday life. It raises a lot of questions, including the idea that robots may end up doing most of the work in our everyday life. It's often sold to us, by the way, as an almost perfected science. But what we're learning is far from it. Not the case. Not true. Here's RT America's Dan Cohen.
Over the past several years, researchers have found scenarios in which a machine doesn't recognize something clearly visible to humans. It could be something as innocuous as Facebook misidentifying a face in a photograph. In one experiment, for example, researchers tweaked the color of a turtle and tricked the artificial intelligence into thinking it's a rifle. In another, they were able to make AI recognize a baseball as a shot of espresso simply by changing its texture. These flaws in artificial intelligence aren't just bizarre, they could even be dangerous. One scenario the researchers came up with describes a self-driving car failing to recognize a stop sign. The human passenger then has no recourse. Researchers have concluded that artificial intelligence is no match for a human brain and its complex systems of neurons. But they're aiming for AI to match the intelligence of a rat within 20 years and to reach human-level intelligence in a lifetime or longer, whatever it takes. In Washington, Dan Cohen, RT.
Thank you, Dan. Now let's go at it with Ben Swann, reporter, political commentator, who's good enough to take his time out to join us on this story. Hey, Ben, you know what's scary about this story? I was reading before going on the air this afternoon about this, and there are cases of artificial intelligence where the models that they created have its subjects coming up with some really bizarre conclusions. Indulge me here for a minute, okay? I'm going to give you some examples. There are machines that dream of spiders with 15 legs, a cat that looks like guacamole, a turtle that looks like a rifle. Say you what about this?
Right, this is like when you're feeding mushrooms into the machine, right? And all of a sudden it starts to see all these crazy things. What I think is interesting is when you hear some of what scientists are saying here, and even in the BBC piece, about a lot of this artificial intelligence, is the personification of machines that's used even in the article, using terminology like hallucinations or dreams. But in fact, the machines are not dreaming or hallucinating, they're programmed. And so they're simply acting upon the programming they've received. And that's where we have to take a step back from this and say, look, artificial intelligence, though there may be great benefits to it, can easily be manipulated, because if you know what the programming is that tells a machine that an orange is an orange or guacamole is guacamole, then you can also make a few adjustments to alter the information being fed to it. It's not actually intelligent.
By the way, keep your hands off my guacamole, my friend. So, yeah, but we know this. I mean, anybody who can see two fingers in front of their forehead knows that these are all algorithms. This isn't real. I don't know. Maybe it's the kids, man. It's the younger generation that is looking at this because they see these movies and they actually think that this is something that's going to take care of, or that acts upon itself. We should know that it isn't, right?
Well, I actually think that a lot of the younger people don't think it acts upon itself. I think it's the tech industry that is pushing the idea that it's going to be something that acts on its own. And I think it's part of them selling us, right? Because we're always got to be a good consumer here and be sold to. But it's them selling us on the idea that this technology is truly thinking, but it's not thinking, right?
Well, then I'm going to stop you there, because everybody's talking about this now. They're already trying these new cars out that drive themselves.
Right.
We're down to 30 seconds. Good idea, bad idea, should we not? Does it scare you?
Terrible idea. If you've ever seen the movie with Schwarzenegger, I can't think of it off the top, Total Recall.
Yeah.
You know that you don't want cars that can drive themselves because you have no control. Eventually, science fiction has warned us, and I know it sounds silly, but science fiction has warned us that eventually none of this leads to a good future, and yet we're replicating it to an incredible extent. It's kind of scary.
Ben, I just want you to know one thing, 3 words. I'll be back. Thanks, my friend.
Hey YouTube, thanks for checking out our channel. We hope you enjoyed the video. We have tons of content for you just like this. For more of RT America's one-of-a-kind news and analysis, be sure to subscribe and never stop questioning more.